co-founder of Blackstorm Consulting. Today, I have my friend here, Mr. Chronos, that we will be asking a few questions and for him to share some insights. Come, Chronos, who are you? Let us know.
Alright, my name is Chronos. I've been running Tom's Palette for the last 15 years. I'm also an appointed instructor under Kabajani to take care of Southeast Asia. So we also help people to advise people to run their business.
So maybe you can share a bit more. When you talk about you being an instructor, so what level of instructions, what level of instructors training do you provide?
It depends on what the company wants. Kabajani is an Italian machine fabricator maker. At the same time, they also run a school. So I'm under the school, which is actually Gelato University.
Okay.
So for them, we just teach people on the basic, okay? But for me, on the inside of it, I will tell people more in details what the people were expecting.
Okay.
Because teaching people the basic, to me, is not enough sufficient for somebody run a business.
So how many of such instructors are there here in Singapore?
For under Kabajani, I'm the only one.
Okay.
Okay, in general, I take care of like places in Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia,
Okay.
Hong Kong, mainly on this Southeast Asian region.
So that means just to check with you, that means there will be students who are interested to make ice cream, make gelato, all this. They contact you. Is that what your role will be?
Okay, so there are a few ways of doing it. Okay, one of the way is Kabajani also have one in Sunrise where I am teaching, but there is also one who approach me to do personal side of it. There are people who approach us directly. Oh, I want to learn how to make, okay, and I want to learn, give you advice on how to open the shops and what should I expect and stuff like that. So we share about all these things with our client.
Okay. So with 15 years, am I correct? You've been running your own Tom Pallets for 15 years.
Yes.
So where is it located?
Currently we have just moved to 51 Meter Road.
51 Meter Road. Okay.
Correct.
Is it your own shop?
Yes, it's a own shop.
Okay.
Myself. We have moved mainly Shaw Tower is tearing now, where our previous location is, and secondly, we need a bigger kitchen to manufacture more.
I see. So being an instructor and being the only one in this region, I would say the number of flavors of ice cream that you have in Tom Pallets itself should be much more superior than most in the market.
I would think that flavor-wise is very subjective. Even when we talk to our client, everyone have a different expectation on their premium. So flavors, even like Italy and Singapore, will also be different.
Okay.
Singapore and Southeast Asia, they're not so used to those soft texture. In Southeast Asia, we're more used to it. So usually we will tend to change a recipe, cater for customer needs.
So that means you're talking about localizations, right?
Yes.
So Chronos, for so many years of running this, 15 years, of so many flavors that you have probably dish out, which are the most top three that Singaporeans or tourists like that they love it most?
I think I will say, okay, in Singapore, this region, experience this period of time, people who prefer something more safe, okay, but still interesting.
Safe as that?
Safe as in
no raw stuff inside.
no raw stuff, no meat, not so anything too exaggerating and stuff like that. Still unsafe, but it's still interesting. People tend to want to be more adventurous in trying, but they're still skeptical about the ingredient being used.
I see.
Yes. So for us, we have been playing things like Parmesan cheese. Playing things like in these few months have been picking up really, really very well. When people have tried it before, they recommend. Even during the lockdown period, a lot of people order online. Correct, exactly. People have ordering it online. And I mean, if you really look at it, seaweed and Parmesan cheese, you would not never consider that as part of the dessert. But once we do the pairing and incorporate it together, people start to have open mind on accepting the ingredients.
So, Chronos, just one question also. How do you differentiate yourself that using machines to produce ice cream compared to those that is mass productions or even a homemade? How do you differentiate these three?
Okay, so homemade is you use a homemaker machine, all right, when you do it, the overrun is much lesser, but the texture will not be as good.
Okay.
You know, you don't even need to calculate recipe. You don't even need a good knowledge of ingredient. You know, because there's a limitation of such machine can do. Once you freeze it overnight, everything will be very, very hard.
Okay.
You know, no matter how you do it. When you do what we do now is what we call the artisanal type. Okay, we use what we call a batch freezer. You make small batches by small batches. You have a better control over the quality. Okay, in this way, calculation will be involved. Understanding of ingredient will be important. Then flavor pairing, that is more on the flavor side. So when you do it on batch freezing method, the quality will definitely be much better, much creamy. Overrun will be much lower. When you talk about overrun, we're talking about how much air is incorporated inside. Then definitely it will be more dense. When you talk about more dense, the flavor will definitely be stronger.
Okay.
Okay, the last one that we're looking at is called mass production. It's what we call by continuous running. When you talk about continuous running, the overrun will definitely be a lot higher. Alright? And when that happens, the flavor actually weaken. Okay? Well, I mean, if you inject, okay, in artisanal kind of like what we do in batch freezing, usually the overrun is 20 to 40%.
Okay.
But when you talk about continuous running, it's going to be a lot more higher.
I see.
So in the sense of quality, definitely you feel more fluffy.
Okay.
Flavor get weaker. That's why in the sense of gelato, right, they will never recognize those as gelato. Because one of the reasons is that, you know, it's not fresh, you keep it for long. They might not be using fresh ingredient. You know, and when you talk about gelato, when you talk about freshness, it's always the batch freezing, control the quality and stuff like that.
So let's say if you're talking about mass production types, you know, do they put preservative as much more as, you know, compared to what you can find off the shelf type?
I mean, the preservative depends what you're looking at. I mean, sugar is also a kind of preservative. You know, so definitely all gelato ice cream will have sugar.
Okay.
Alright. The thing that people always want to talk about is the stabilizer part. You know, there's a difference between a stabilizer and emulsifier. Okay, stabilizer is tend to absorb the free water. Emulsifier is tend to bind the free water and the fat together. The result is the same, but the process is different.
Okay.
Okay, so in general, stabilizer is still natural. Okay, there's in the market, you go to cold storage or you go to any supermarkets, everything has preservative.
Okay, I see.
You know, you can't have milk in Singapore if it doesn't have any stabilizer involved. So I think say that it's definitely a must-have. You know, but then in the sense of commercial one, they might have a bit more of it in order to have a longer shelf life.
I see.
You know, for us, we try to. I mean, for Tom's Palette in the shop, we don't use at all for stabilizer. We don't add stabilizer because we believe that whatever that is inside the milk and cream, there's a small portion of it. That's why we do not add.
So in this case, would it be a shorter lifespan?
It's a shorter lifespan, and that is also the reason why we control our ice cream in the shop very carefully. Okay, they are more delicate because without stabilizer. Training is very crucial for the staff to know how to take care.
I see.
Okay, then we have a good control on how long the ice cream or gelato has been outside.
Okay.
You know, taste and the sense of the flavors and the quality, the iciness and stuff like that. So we do not add, you know, but I would say that they doesn't have because in the milk and cream that we use it naturally.
So okay, so I also understand that you were an engineer.
Yes.
So having run for 15 years in this ecosystem, so what happened? what caused the shift in this line?
I just a little background a bit. I used to be in Epson, okay, printer. I was there for 5 years. I was working in the parts engineering for 3 years, and then after I was selected for overseas training, okay, to set up a department in cartridge. That was another 2 years. So I was given the opportunity to set up my own department, you know. So I traveled to Japan, I came back, I set my own department, everything from scratch. You know, then I feel like, hey, okay, it was quite a good experience lah, to do everything from scratch, train people, system and everything. Then after I went overseas study in Australia, then I came back in Panasonic. So I was also working in R&D department. Okay, then I worked my way up. I was almost to manager position when I resigned. So in these few years we're working, and then I realized that, I'm almost like running a business. Setting a department, I do my own R&D, I have my own idea how the things will be achieved and stuff like that. But I don't get the satisfaction of what I want.
Okay.
Because there are a few things that I feel that it should be changed, but I couldn't, because it was rejected by the top management.
Okay.
So I applied whatever skill I have into the business and stuff like that.
But why ice cream?
I love food.
Okay.
Okay. I find that food is so interesting. And I want to change the perspective of people thinking about food. When we first start up, it's like ice cream. Why ice cream? Ice cream is a dessert that makes people happy. Okay, beside that, we are not restricted by the flavor, the ingredient. If you guys sell fishball noodles, for example, 5 years I'll be doing the same thing.
Okay.
It's very repeated.
You can't really add cheese into the
Yes. So, but for us, ice cream, right? There's so much things you can do with it.
Yeah.
It's just that how your creativity going to lock yourself up. So in ice cream, we can play with a lot of things. There always be R&D. It's going to be fun, and that's what I like. And we are the first. I would say during the 15 years ago, we are also the first one to do savory ice cream, gelato. So that was the first time we had salted caramel. After we had salted egg yolk, we want to change the idea about people about food. Dessert and ice cream need not be sweet.
Yeah. Okay.
And it can be more interesting than that.
I see.
Yeah.
So Carlos, one question is also, when you first started, do you consider yourself as an entrepreneur, or do you just consider yourself as, I just want to do something with ice cream?
Okay, first thing first, I doesn't really like ice cream.
Oh, it doesn't really like ice cream.
I don't really like ice cream. I don't like sweet stuff, and that's also the reason you see the savory stuff coming out. Okay, I love food a lot. I like to play with food. I do a lot of weird things to my food, that even things I eat. I put green tea in my porridge. I like to,
Mix and match.
Mix and match. I just open my fridge and see what is there and just throw everything inside.
Okay.
This is the thing. I'm a very random person. I like to play with things and food and stuff like that. So I just say that I'm a person who like to experience different things, and you can enjoy that through food and as a job, it's 2 in 1. Okay, entrepreneur side, I don't think I'm a really entrepreneur. I'm just doing what my experience previously have to set up a department and just apply to it, and I just feel what I need to do.
So 15 years later, what has changed?
I think mentality of the whole business have changed. Okay, 15 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Definitely 15 years ago, the ice cream industry, and now it's definitely very different.
Yeah.
We have to adapt and change. 15 years ago we are still young. We have a lot of energy, we have a lot of vibe, we have a lot of things that we will push ourselves. But now it's a different game. It's a different kind of way of running a business.
Yeah.
You can't do everything by yourself. You have to let go. You have to give trust to your staff to do the things themselves. Identify their strength and their weakness, and how to let their potential show.
So how many people when you first started? Was it yourself only, or?
I started with my wife and one more partner. But along the way, the other partner get fall out.
Okay.
So I left we have a wife. And now we have a team. Okay. My wife's involved in R&D part. Okay. So I have one that in charge of marketing and one in charge of production. And I myself, I will try to oversee the whole thing, make sure it's run smoothly.
Okay. I understand that you're a dad yourself.
Yes.
So how do you strike a balance?
It's difficult to strike a balance. I would just say that try to spend as much time with the family and see what comes out of it.
So during this pandemic, in Singapore, we're still in the phase 2, circuit breaker, the lockdown and everything.
Yeah.
So what happened the past few months? How does it impact your business?
I think that it's interesting. This pandemic have teach us a number of things. I think we have gone through the hardest time. Our shore tower outlets was closed in end of March, just before the lockdown.
Yeah.
So once it's locked down, we are in the midst of renovation on the new place.
Yeah.
So we cannot proceed everything at all. And it was way much later, then we can do some online and stuff like that. So we also learn a lot of things, how important is marketing. We almost closed for 4 months and realized that this 4 months is a long time.
Yeah.
If we don't do enough marketing, your customer will start to lose touch with you.
Especially digital marketing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And you'll realize that customer forget you. There's no such thing as loyal customers. Alright. No matter how much time, if you don't stay connect with them, they eventually will forget about you.
Okay.
So this is what I've been trying to do. We're kind of lucky. Some nice customers after we open, they come back. So this is something that we realize that how important marketing is.
I understand that you have all these machineries and everything. So can I assume that all these machineries are not something that you can just buy off the shelf and then put it at home and then start to do it yourself?
Yes. Okay. I mean, people always say that, oh, I want to buy Cuisina. Yes, you can do that if you want to use like a toy at home. Yes.
Okay.
But you want to do for R&D, it will be totally different. The recipe have to change and stuff like that. As I mentioned before, those that you make at home, okay, you can, no matter how, you can don't even care about recipe, you don't care about calculation and everything, it will still works. Eat fresh on the spot. But when you freeze it overnight, it actually will be different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in fact, in Tom's Palette, we also have ice cream making workshop.
Yeah.
Okay, a 2 hours workshop, tell people how to make without ice cream freezer. But let them, the whole idea about it is want to let them educate them about each of the ingredient, how it have an impact. I'm just teaching them very surface on what they need to know. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, we have been doing this workshop for, I think, quite a number of years.
Yep.
Okay, the whole idea is like, okay, just like you bought a bottle of wine. One is $20 over, another is $100 over. How will you appreciate? Why do you, that value 100? So that time I was thinking about it, then like, okay, I still remember the first day when we start, an uncle come to my shop. He was questioning me, wow, that time we were selling at 3 something. I was like, wow, your ice cream is
$3 plus?
Yeah, that was the initial stage, 15 years ago. He was like, why your ice cream so expensive? Outside uncle, the trolley one only $1.
$3 per scoop.
Yes.
And it's expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to them it's like, hey, the uncle outside, the ice cream uncle is only $1, one popsicle.
Okay.
So it's hard to convince people and and tell them what's the difference of it.
Yeah.
So that's why after that I was decided to start a class, okay, and educate the people why the difference between each different kind of ice cream.
I see.
Let them know how each of the ingredient have an impact on the ice cream. So to them they actually know more.
So what do I get if I were to say attend these 2 hours? So I get to know about a sort of precisions of ice creams and all this.
Yep.
And
I mean, for us, we will teach you using 2 different methods of making. Alright, then after that you can decide which one to use, you will create your own. So even after this course, you can start making ice cream at home.
So this will be handmade.
Handmade.
Okay. Not without the machines.
Without the machine. You can do without the machine. So you want to teach people how to do it, how to do 2 different methods. We call it French castle of making. And also explain to them importance of the ingredient. To do. I always try to emphasize a lot on the ingredient parts. Understanding of ingredient is very important to differentiate yourself and the rest. Anyone can make ice cream, but understanding ingredients doesn't mean that everyone can really have good knowledge. Like the tea, first flush, second flush, the flush. Okay, what's the difference between a matcha and a green tea? All these things is important for us.
Okay.
As I would say a designer for gelato.
I see. So question, Chronos, having been located here in Singapore, will you have limitations of the kind of ingredients that you can get? Like for example, maybe the freshness of the fruits.
I mean, definitely, it will definitely play a very important part of the fruits that we can get.
Yeah.
But we are still at an advantage compared to those in the Europe. A lot of the tropical fruits that we have here is still considered quite decent.
Yeah.
I mean, don't compare like Malaysia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you get a local, we always encourage people to use local produced fruits.
Mm.
Okay, those are definitely a lot better.
Yep.
but Singapore is still not very far away from Malaysia, not very far away from Taiwan and stuff like that, and Indonesia. So we still can get fairly decent fruits.
I know that there were a couple of articles that featured you and I mean, Tom Pellets itself about salted eggs and stuff like that. That was one of the more popular ice cream, right?
Yes, I think we did that almost about 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
Or maybe way before that. That is one of the very adventurous try. First, we did a salted caramel. So we want to prove to customer that okay, actually not be sweet, it can be savory.
Okay.
And savory is also like sugar, like that is a flavor. You know. So when we go down the road, then we realize that hey, people like salted egg a lot, especially as Chinese, you know, like mooncake, you know,
so almost everything salted egg.
Everything. I mean, during that time there was not so much on the
chips
and things. They mainly it's like mooncake. Okay, it's a dessert. They have salted egg inside. Actually, it's quite nice. Why they have it? It's strike balance between savory and sweet. Otherwise, it's overly sweet. You just have the paste. Then you have a dumpling, you know, and stuff like that. So to me, it's like actually it's a very nice flavor. You know, so that's why the time we and wife are eating liu sha pao.
Liu sha pao, okay.
Right. That was how the idea actually comes about. So we decided that hey, why don't we do something like that? You know, we do really need to break off the trend, let people know about, you know, these kind of flavors. Not sticking to whether it's American or Italian, we should have our own unique flavors.
More of the Southeast Asia type.
Southeast Asia, you know. So a lot of always people think, oh, Southeast Asia, they always think about, oh, good ice cream. They always think about okay, Japan, Korea, the more prestige. But for us here in Singapore, Malaysia, it's actually very different compared to Japan and Korea. You know, we have our own kind of flavors. And it will be very interesting when we incorporate all these flavors and develop our own unique ice cream or gelato flavors.
So being an entrepreneur yourself, do you see the numbers of flavors of ice creams that you roll out as a result of all your thoughts process, you know, your R&D, everything? Do you think that you see it as a product that you push it out, as long as there are a lot of you know, a lot of sales to it, a lot of people who like it, that is considered as success?
Not really. I don't judge success by the sales. Okay. I just assess by how customers react to it. Just for example, when you do a nasi lemak, okay, so we did study, you know, how nasi lemak should be. You know, we take out all the component of nasi lemak, and we will put it in like, okay, what would be essential inside the ice cream. You know, then the result what we want is not to sell very well. The result is what we want is convert the people concept about it. You know, so what we did on that, we used the glutinous rice. We actually infuse it with lemongrass and Paddy, because we actually go and study how people make nasi lemak. And try to reconstruct it back. So we use glutinous rice. We infuse it with pandan leaf, lemongrass, okay, and coconut. Okay, that would be the rice base. That's exactly how they're going to cook it. So when you eat it, you have the rice fragrance, we have the lemongrass citrusy note, we have pandan and coconut. That is the base. Okay. Then after that, we use ikan bilis, we blend the powder. We spread it with white chocolates, with chili flakes and stuff like that. We skin out peanut. That will be the components that usually they have in nasi lemak. Okay. So when you look at it, it's just like it's just a plain ice cream. No one will actually expect that it is a nasi lemak.
So one question. You mentioned ikan bilis.
Yes.
Okay. So will you have situations where customers go into the shop and they say that, hey, I'm a vegetarian, I'm a vegan, you know, and then they probably need your help to sort of make some recommendation on this, because I understand that there are more and more different types of diets now available. So do you cater to this group? I mean, coming from an entrepreneur point of view.
I mean, definitely there is a market for vegetarian and vegan, you know, and we always look at the needs, what the customer is looking at. So quite a number of years back, we developed a chocolate sorbet. Okay. So there is the initial part was designed for people with lactose intolerance, and we feel that they always feel that, oh, you know, I'm lactose, I cannot take milk and cream, so everything will be icy, you know, I can eat a lot of things and stuff like that, and always icy and stuff like that. So that time we decided to do a chocolate sorbet for them, these group of
see.
people, you know, and chocolate sorbet in general, they don't have milk and cream inside,
Mm.
but they still can enjoy the creaminess of it and stuff like
But will it be more challenging for you? I mean, in terms of the cost, will it be higher?
that. The cost will definitely be a bit higher,
Yeah.
you know, but I still think that it's still acceptable,
Okay.
you know, and times goes along, you know, and this one can actually apply for vegetarian, you can apply for vegan and stuff like that. So that is why for us it's a never stopping, there's a never point whereby we stop to do R&D.
I see.
So a lot of time we have, I have a file that's that big with all the recipe inside.
Okay.
So a lot of time we
What are the
just,
secret
okay,
ingredients?
I won't say secret lah. If we can do it, I think everyone can do it. It's just like whether people have the time and the heart to do it or not.
Mm.
You know, that's why we have my wife is focusing just on doing R&D and nothing else.
Mm.
You know, and based on what customer wants, and we try to do it for them. So this is basically what we do. So at some time we see, oh, there's a need of this. Okay, we see any relevant, we pull it out, then we can develop from there.
I see.
Yeah. So I think along this 15 years, we see ourselves not just a manufacturer of ice cream and gelato. We see ourselves more on the research part of it.
Okay.
By creating flavors, playing with ingredients, we have played with so many ingredients until we find that, you know, it's much more interesting.
I understand that you're also working with restaurant chains. You also sell to corporates and also do delivery to house. I mean, anyone who online. And of course, you have your own shops at 51 Middle Road, right?
Yeah.
So how do you manage all this?
I think that's why we have a team to handle this.
Yeah.
That's why that is why I say that from the beginning of the business, we are just like me and my wife, okay, work everything, crack our head, just make sure all the production. But now it come to a point whereby we need a system.
Mm.
Okay, so I have somebody in charge of production, I have somebody in charge of marketing,
Mm.
and online also. I have somebody in charge of different things, you know.
But you're still doing hands-on?
I still doing hands-on. I still
Okay.
doing hands-on. I mean, for me, I still enjoy doing the R&D part. You know, I still like to play with food. I still, whenever there's shortage of manpower on certain spot, I will step in and do it. You know, so I still feel that the hands-on is important. Okay, but don't overdo it.
Mm.
When you get too much involved in hands-on, you realize that you miss out a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay, always back up and look at the overall picture and make sure everything's running smoothly. This is my style.
Mm.
But I still prefer hands-on, so I know on the ground what the problem my staff is facing.
Okay. So that means you can be on the front, you can be at the back,
Yeah.
but in between whatever is happening, you are there.
Yeah, I'm there, but I always try to step back.
Okay, I
You
see.
know, because sometimes you are too involved, you neglect the important parts.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us a lot of these insights.
Sure.
So this comes to the end of our interviews. Well, if you are interested to know more, and so please feel free to contact Mr. Chronos and have fun.
Thank you for watching. If you would like to have more of this, feel free to check out at exprenia.com.